Like the summer, during the winter we dump our nightly urine out in areas that we would not mind extra fertilization, such as around our apple trees. With snow on the ground and that ground frozen, the question I have is if that urine is actually able to get to the ground and be useful to the plants. From my past experiments, the first 3 years as that is on tall grass, I've seen effects of the grass even soon after applying the first urine, so I think if there's a small effect, I would be able to see it. Though we typically broadcast the urine in the summer, I will be testing both that, in the middle plot, and dumping it in one spot in the viewer left one. The dump is able to melt through the foot or so of snow today and reach the buried grass. Unlike the tall grass summer plots, I will not be adding the rinse water onto these plots. I ended the urine application at the end of February. It's been 3 months where there was a little bit of snow remaining on the ground, followed by the grass laying dormant in the cold weather and slowly starting to grow. Now at the end of May, I'm seeing some results. They aren't entirely what I was expecting, and I certainly have a lot of questions. Turning to the plot where I was dumping urine kind of straight down into the holes, it's considerably darker green and, well, taller than the control plot over here. There's fewer of the there's more flowers in the control plot, like little blue flowers, but that could just be the random distribution of things. And it's actually this is a good location to do it because I actually have photos from last year in the background of the plot in front of it, where I've been taking photos after I did some water application. However, there's a few concerning things. There's one area over here that has considerably less grass growth with considerable dead grass, which is actually what most of the plot where I was kind of widely broadcasting the urine looks like. It's mostly dead grass. There's the main tuft in the middle there, and there's a little bit of grass on the edges, so it's kind of concerning. This plot looks like there might be a small increase of grass growth. It just in the areas that are alive, it's just so hard to tell when it's mostly dead. Um, and that gets onto another kind of error with this experiment, which is that so the downhill's that direction, and so I'm controlling the uphill, so nothing's flowing into this, but this plot in the center could flow into my other fertilization plot where I was dumping it down further, and thus, well, you could have some issues where like the fertilization kind of doubles up in that area, and I'm not sure if that occurred or any results of that. But it does seem like that at least dumping it down so it gets onto the ground and maybe even melts a little bit of the ice in the ground because it's coming from room temperature does manage to cause a fertilization effect, which is good. Which means that it's not all, when we do that over winter, it's not just all running off into the streams, which is what we don't want from having when we're dumping it outside. We want it to get processed by the grass around and thus not cause nutrients to go into the stream. This year, I applied 36 person nights of urine to each of these plots over about a month of time. Comparing this to the summer plots that I've done, where I like similar tall grass summer plots, in 2017 and 2018, I applied approximately 60 person nights of urine to those plots, but that was to each of the high fertilization plots, but that was over a period of 4.5 to 5 months. In 2019, I applied approximately 40 person nights of urine, but over a period of 3.5 months. So while this plot had a slightly less amount of urine applied than the 2019 experiment I did, it was over a much shorter period. So there's a couple possibilities to what it could have been that caused this dead grass. We do bleach out the buckets, and that ideally should have gone down the drain instead of getting thrown out here. But even if it got thrown out here, I wasn't spreading the weight or the rinse water, and that would have come out as rinse water on these plots. So while there's still some train of events that possibly could have happened, I haven't really seen patches of grass die off like this anywhere around here. And I would have expected over the years I might have noticed that. And we've been doing this for 2 decades now. So it seems unlikely, but very slim possibility. Another one could have been that because I was tossing this down, it was melting the snow, because even though it didn't get to the ground, it was decreasing the snow depth. And that's one of the reasons I had to stop this kind of before most of the snow melted, is that this plot had lower snow than the other areas around it. And that could cause a not so great effect of like more cold being able to get in there, except this area wasn't the lowest snow around. There's many other areas that had considerably less snow, and wasn't seeing any like similar dead grass plots. So I'm doubtful of that. The other thing it could have been is something in the urine. That's the only possibility, but again, that seems doubtful because we haven't seen this before. And as I said, we've been doing this for 20 years and we don't see dead grass patches show up randomly. It was over a much shorter period. And then even if that like built up, it could have built up into the soil and then got kind of released and used by the soil all at one time. So that is another possible explanation for why this died off, was over-fertilization. I've definitely seen I've over-fertilized before. So if all that urine built up over the winter and then was just released, but I'm surprised I only saw it in the broadcast plot and not the direct application plot, because I would have expected that would have been even more intense, because I'm not sure I got every square inch or square foot of this plot with a urine application, because I only, at 3 persons per night, I only got 12 applications to each of these. So there's a possibility that this maybe was able to survive that a little bit better. It does seem to possibly have a little bit less density than the control plot, but I really can't tell. And maybe just the plot where or part where I am seeing dead grass is an indication of such.